And gentlemen, welcome back to Event Tech Live 2021. My name's Simon Howard. If you are just joining us, a very warm welcome to you all. Now, just before we kick off with our next session on the main stage, just a quick reminder, we are running a number of roundtable and speed networking sessions throughout today. And if you're a conference and meeting planner, we have a speed networking session about to start now. So if you want to get involved with that, expand your network in that field, head over there now. But if you are staying with us on the main stage, we have a cracking presentation up next called My Hybrid Journey and How It Changed the Wise Children Theatre Company Forever. A compelling story told by none other than Simon Baker. So Simon should be joining us now. Simon, how are you, sir?
I'm very well, very well. What a build up. Thank you very much for that. I wonder if you're going to come
Absolute
back.
pleasure. The floor is yours.
Oh, thanks very much. Well, as Simon said, confusingly, my name's Simon Baker. I'm the technical director for Wise Children. Wise Children's a theatre company run by Emma Rice, who you may know from places like the Globe or Knee High Theatre. We're an Arts Council funded organisation, and our remit is to tour theatre shows up and down the country. I try to avoid using the term touring to regional theatres these days, but that's our job. Our job is to make shows and tour them to those theatres up and down the country. And alongside that, I'd be in trouble for not saying we also run the School for Wise Children as well. So the school is about training the next generation of theatre makers. My job at Wise Children is pretty broad. I look after all of Wise Children's technical requirements and also look after their digital production. But our digital production didn't really start until lockdown happened. What happened was, as with everybody, every theatre company on the planet, we had to stop. Everything had to shut down. Our tours were lost. Everything was cancelled. And it was a pretty devastating and depressing time. And at the time, of course, as you remember, no one really knew how long lockdown was going to last. So in those first few months, we sat around and tried to work out what is it we could do? What is it? How could we use technology to reconnect our audience? And one of those ways was the crazy idea that we would get our tour that had been cancelled, was halfway on its way to LA at the time. We'd turn the boat around, get it back here to Bristol, and we would live stream the show. We had no idea at that point how to live stream a show. I promise you, we didn't really know where to start. And I started by fortunately, my kids were living with me during lockdown, and they're obsessed with watching YouTube channels of people in their kids in their bedrooms playing computer games as they play along with them. So people like Nerd Cubed. And I was looking at this sort of live streaming that they were watching, realized that it was pretty DIY, but pretty DIY at quite a high quality. And the numbers were fantastic. Some of these people on those live streams on Twitch are watched by 30, 40,000 people at a time. And I thought, well, if I can borrow that technology, we can squeeze that into theatre. And with a little bit of messing about and understanding the tech, we could probably do a live show. So we did. And we set the budget at how much it would fit on our collective credit cards. We went and bought some kit. And I persuaded Tom Morris, the artist at Bristol Vic, to give us his stage, which had been shuttered like everywhere else, for 2 weeks. And we came in here and we rebuilt Romantics Anonymous, and we put it on air with our partners at Ticketco. Finding Ticketco was a big, or streaming provider was a big hurdle in that journey to our live streaming work, because we needed something which was really simple for a theatre audience to understand, a box office system that's really simple. I wanted to be able to send somebody a link, them enter their name, enter their email, enter their payment details, hit send, and you get a ticket. Click the link on a ticket and you can watch our show. And you can watch our show in a number of ways. I was sort of sick of Zoom meetings and Teams and Google by that point. So I definitely wanted something that I could watch on TV. And Ticketco already had started to develop their Apple app, their Apple TV app and their Fire Stick app and all those things. So it was a big thing for us that the user experience journey was dead simple, and that you could watch it on something other than just your laptop. You could watch it on your laptop as well, but I wanted that opportunity to watch it somewhere else. Cut forward to today, and we're sort of halfway out the pandemic, I guess, sort of, and we've got theatres open again. And we had to And sorry, it's our crew fitting up around me. We had to think, how do we keep going with our digital work? What is hybrid? How do we keep doing it? Should we keep doing it? And why are we going to keep doing it? But today, I'm sat in Bristol Old Vic on a co-production with Wise Children and the National Theatre, and we're about to live broadcast out of Wuthering Heights. In fact, I'll cut to a camera so you can just about see us loading in. So this is the Bristol Old Vic Auditorium. I'm somewhere at the back. You can see our lighting department hovering around in the background, clumping around. It's Jay and Vic Brennan, Poppy Keeling, our exec producers here, Helen, another one of our producers is here for the school, as we slowly try and get Wuthering Heights somehow on air over the next 3 days. The question is, I guess, is why hybrid? Why do it? Why keep doing it? Theatres are open. We don't need to worry about this digital stuff anymore, do we? But the truth is, hybrid offers us much more access than we could have ever offered before. Much more. It means we can get to people that can't get to the theatre, and there are so many reasons why people can't get to you and why people would rather experience you online. That could be geographic. That could be there could be some physical reason why somebody can't get here. It could be, as you can imagine, there are huge numbers of reasons. When Wuthering Heights is a production we had planned pre-pandemic. When we decided to bring it back, and when we worked out the slot and the funding to bring it back, and we started promoting it, the first series of emails we got, the first series of responses to our tweets and social media campaign was, "Tell me you're going to be live streaming it." And it was at that point we realised it's really important. It's kind of, for us, we have a responsibility as an Arts Council funded organisation to keep our access going, and that hybrid event offers us an excellent solution to that, particularly when you found a robust streaming partner, as we have with TicketCo. So that's the kind of the why in terms of why we would keep doing it as a hybrid performance. Is because it just allows us to get to people that wouldn't be able to come and see us. Imagine being able to get into all those schools around the country that are equally studying Wuthering Heights at A-level this year. Imagine us to be able to get into care homes that wouldn't be able to get to see us. There's lots and lots of reasons which aren't always particularly obvious, but they're there, and we have a duty, a moral obligation, and a funding obligation to go and find those people. But there's another reason as well, in that theatre's tough at the moment. People are nervous to come back. In-person seats aren't particularly, whilst they're selling, it's much harder to get people through the door. So as well as being able to service the needs of those people to get to the theatre, the other reason is we're constantly looking at different income streams. And talking to Tom Rice not very long ago, when we were talking about Wuthering Heights and how we might do it, what became clear was that there's 4 kind of additional ticket streams now. So you've got in-person sales, which we've always had as theatre, but by putting some technology in the room, we can also live broadcast. So there's the live broadcast income stream, whatever that might be. We can also make our show available on demand through TicketCo. So for a short window of time, people can rent the work and watch it at the time that's convenient to them. And we found that's really key in the schools market and in the education market. But then there's other versions that once we've captured it, and this is the key thing, once we've done this live stream, we'll own it on a 7 camera shoot, which is what this is, in 4K, and we can take that away to an edit suite. And that opens up other potential income streams for us. So for example, whether it be Marquee TV or Amazon or Netflix or Sky or the BBC or whoever, all of those streaming providers are content hungry at the moment. They burn through content like there's no tomorrow. And that offers us another income stream to be able to assemble and edit in 4K and HD to bring our show to those other content providers. So that gives us another income stream. And again, improves our access. It improves who we are, it advertises who we are, and it gets our show to many more people. And alongside the streaming version, there's also the possibility of looking for a cinema release. And cinema releases are ambitious but doable. We made Wise Children last year in a co-production with the BBC in the Space, the year before now, I kind of lose a year, which was for cinema release. And we've taken our sort of knowledge base from that, and build up contacts in that industry. So again, a limited cinema release is also another potential income. So you're putting together a large production. There's lots of different ways that capture can help you along the way. The thing for us, I suppose, is the cost of it. Does it work? Does it make sense financially? Probably live streaming a hybrid event on its own is touch and go as to whether it covers its costs. Bristol Vic here today, you can see, I'm going to cut back to this camera here. We've got the auditorium is in the stalls, and Bristol Vic seats, what, 450 maybe? And we've probably taken out 60 seats. Now, we could have done it for less. Bristol did Touching the Void about 6 months ago, which I did for them. We didn't take out anywhere near as many seats. We hid the cameras pretty much with TZs and tiny positions. It's not quite the version we like to do. So we like to take out a few more seats. We like to have more contact with the camera team when we're working with Wise Children. As we get used to the tech, as we start to learn the show. So we've probably taken out, I guess, 60 seats. So we've got 60 seat losses in order to do this. But we will have a live audience with us over the next 5 nights. So we will have an audience in Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday matinee, Saturday evening. And we'll be live broadcasting from Thursday night. So we'll be rehearsing during those performances, the camera team, but there'll still be a live audience with us. And we will be live broadcasting Thursday, Friday, Saturday matinee, Saturday evening. And we've probably got 350 people in. We may get a bit more in. We're just working out what our aisle issues are at the moment with our camera positions, which is why I'm slightly stressed. We're going to have to jump off soon and go and deal with that. But that's where we are. So it's possible to still have a live audience in the auditorium. Great for the acting company, great for the atmosphere of doing it, and be able to live broadcast without much interruption, I would say, to the audience coming in. It's sold as the live broadcast. You're sold as coming in to watch an experience of watching the show being filmed. So a little bit like being the studio television audience rather than a pure theatre experience. That kind of gives us the why and the how. We, in terms of, I think, one of the things that people often call me up about, I spend a lot of time on the phone talking to other theatre companies these days about how to do it. I think people get stressed by the technology, and I don't think anybody should be stressed by the technology. I think it's relatively simple in that by the time you've got one camera and you can get it into a laptop, it's pretty easy to make a show. Well, that show could be something really simple. Somebody sat reading a children's story, gives you a show, gives you material to put out. If you just keep adding to that and expanding that, you'll soon learn how you go from 1 camera to 3 cameras to control of 5 cameras to where are we now? Steve Tanner's making me use 7 on this today. And you just keep scaling up. But starting quite small works. It's how we did it. We started with 3 cameras, center right, and a tiny 8M Mini Pro. So 4 inputs, and we just toggle between them. And that gave us quite an interesting show for Romantics Anonymous, and quite a simple, low impact show, and something we could afford. What this isn't is lots and lots of trucks parked outside of Bristol Vic, and hundreds of crew, and lots of people you've never met before, and lots of people that aren't connected with the show coming in to tell you, oh, you know what TV people are like. They like to come in and tell theatre people what they've done wrong. And we avoid that. And the key thing for us was putting the technology back into the centre of the creative team. So it will be Emma Rice that directs this version for the live broadcast. It will be Steve Tanner, our production photographer, who's our director of photography for the live stream. Me, my normal job on this production for Wuthering Heights is a sound designer, video designer. We'll have complete control of the audio. We'll have complete control over the vision mix. So everything is self-contained, one unit. So we're not handing over our precious show to another group of people who perhaps don't understand it or have a different opinion or a different thought process to us. So we can keep it very much within the family, if you like. And the reason that works for hybrid is it means we're flexible. There's no set way of doing something. We can kind of make up the rules as we go along. We don't have to worry about what we should do. We can just worry about what we can do more often than not, what we think we can get away with. So when we first started this in lockdown, of course, we thought we're never going to have an audience. It doesn't work with an audience. It's too difficult. The acting company don't know who they're playing to. They're playing to an audience. They're playing to an empty auditorium. That feels weird. So they're just going to play to a camera. We never really wanted to bring an audience in. Slowly, bit by bit, we've worked out that adding an audience works really well for us. And it certainly, for us, makes the budget tip in the right direction. So we've got the in real life sales, plus we can make the seats we've taken out with our live broadcast work. Lots of people also get worried about the numbers. Surely don't need to do hybrid anymore. People are back in the theatre. People that are going to come and see the show are going to come and see the show. Surely, if you live broadcast your show now, they're not going to see the rest of the tour. I kind of don't feel that's true. I feel that what we've seen in other areas, remember, it's been doing this for decades. I mean, broadcasting football matches on the telly doesn't really affect your gate attendance. Everybody panicked originally and thought it would. And sports lent itself to that hybrid model really well. And theatre's so late in adopting it that I don't actually think we're going to see an impact. And I feel that if we were going to see an impact, I certainly don't believe Hamilton would have given their live stream away freely to Disney when they've still got all those productions of Hamilton going. What this is a fantastic advert to come and see the show in real life, or to persuade people to come to the theatre, or to show them what theatre is, and that feels very important. So that hybrid being the future of Wise Children feels like a strong statement. I feel that our digital output is always going to be something we're going to do. The other benefits of just owning the technology and just understanding putting digital into the heart of theatre opens up all kinds of things for us. So, of course, today we're doing the great big full new National Theatre production of Wuthering Heights, but understanding the tech means that we can do a rehearsal hall, so we could show a group of students what a day in the life is like rehearsing in an MRI's rehearsal room. We could slowly start to reveal the process. We could shoot a read-through, show sponsors what a dress rehearsal looks like. We could show our overseas sponsors or producers what our show is without having to fly lots of people over all the time in order to get it booked at festivals. So we have a sort of huge digital kind of expands our world rather than contracts it. I think there was always a fear that it would just mean, oh, well, why are you doing that? It's going to be sort of second rate to go into the theatre. And I actually think the opposite's true. I think that digital and placing digital at the heart of the company allows us to do many more things we've never have done before. And I think that's where we'll go. We'll probably, at Wise Children, always look to live stream our main event, but there may be smaller projects along the way, which are made possible by having a split audience between being real and rather than being in real life and also being online. So the kit kind of opens up or broadens out who we can get to, who we can engage with. And certainly as the school moves forward, it's going to be invaluable. And as I say, the other thing is once we've captured it, we've got it. You know, we will own, by the end of Saturday night, we will own really high quality multi-camera film of Wuthering Heights, which we can do lots and lots of things with. So all of those things suddenly become possible, which is why I feel that digital, that hybrid digital thing will be in place. Going back to the technology, it was fundamental. You make it, there's two things going on. There's the capture bit that we're doing now, and it's cameras and cable and understanding monitors and trying to deal with color and color balance and all those things that we'll work out today. But the other key thing for us has been is how do you get it out? How do you get your work out into the public arena? And one of the challenges we faced early on is that there's lots of people that provide you with a streaming service. Of course, you can go to YouTube. Of course, you can go to Vimeo. You can go to any of those. And we certainly worked early on with Twitch. But then when you try and put a paywall between those things, that's where everything starts to become a little bit more tricky. So you end up going to paywall streaming services. But paywall streaming services tend to be very much based around the sport model and needed quite a lot of development on its front end. And we certainly didn't have time to do that. It was a thing that was going to really put us off. We wanted a really clear user experience for our audience, who were going to be nervous. You know, these were people that weren't used to buying on-demand sport event tickets. Probably there'd be some crossover, but we had to remove all those barriers. I wanted it so that I could send my mum an email and she'd go, I get it. I understand how I managed to watch this. And in doing that, we learned so much. The first time you do it, you'll get it wrong. Everybody gets it wrong the first time. We got it horribly wrong the first time in lots of ways. For example, you suddenly realize that you're the box office, and I hadn't allowed for that in my planning. I thought, I don't know who I thought the box office was going to be, but as a touring theatre company, we're not really used to selling tickets direct to the public. And suddenly you find yourself, you're the box office. So you've got all the responsibilities of people saying, I can't find the link. How does it work? I'm watching on my Windows 95 computer and I've just got a color bars on the screen. So you've got all those problems to deal with. But slowly, bit by bit, you just get better and better at it. You work out in your marketing language how you watch this show. We do lots of information about it will be in HD, we will be in stereo, it will be simple. We make little video. This is how you buy a ticket. Ticketco has a great feature called Contact Attendees, which once everybody's bought a ticket, we know who's watching. We email them on the day of the show to say, remember you're with us tonight. Here's how you watch. Here's where you find your ticket, link to watch the show. And we also often, and in fact we do on this, we present a digital program. So we send them a link to the program. And then again, at around about 6:30, we'll write to all those people again. We'll say, we're doing this, you're going to do this. And there's a little chat window. And if you get stuck, you can email this number or reach out to us on social media. And all the while, so we have as much direct contact with that audience and as much care over that user journey as we would as if they've walked into the theatre and are asking an usher where the loos are or how you place an. So the sort of inclusion of it for us has been really important, and that Ticketco workflow for me kind of solved that. I'm sure there are other providers out there that do a similar thing, but for us, it's we work quite well with Ticketco, and since we did that, I think we were an early adopter of using their platform. And I've been working with them to work with arts organisations. Arts organisations are tricky. They have different requirements than commercial organisations. One of the things we do, one of the barriers we hit quite early on, is we have to do closed captioning. It's a requirement. It's still very hard to do live. There's kind of one or two platforms that allow you to do it live. We still working that out, how we, on a live event, but on a video on demand event, for example, we were having to make bespoke version with caption, bespoke audio described event, and a bespoke kind of vanilla event. And so there are three things. And of course, that becomes quite confusing which one you book and if you book the right one. And Ticketco have worked really hard. We've solved that now. So now on video on demand, you can upload your film and you can toggle the closed captions on and off, and it's all very good. Audio description is a curious thing, but is a really key market in terms of access. There are people that need the audio described version, which is for the people, so partially sighted people like to have the described to them, and they like to know who's where and what people are wearing. It's a very unique skill, and you might look at those figures commercially as a commercial producer and go, we've sold 6,000 tickets and 22 people have bought the audio described version. For us as an NPO, as a funded organisation, that's not the point. The point is people need that particular version of production, and we can produce a brilliant one for them. We can take our time over it, we can edit it, I can sit and mix it. We can absolutely deliver a first-class audio described production for that particular people. So in terms of why would hybrid be running through everything Wise Children does, that access work is absolutely fundamental. And we're doing it. It's a real thing. It's not just the kind of thing that we've talked about in board meetings or sat around and thought would be a good idea. Today, and the crew are staring at me to get off this call so we can get on with some work. Um, we'll be doing it at 6 o'clock tonight. We'll bring the acting company on. We'll slowly piece through the show. I'll start marking up a script. We'll start to balance colour. We'll start to look at lighting. And by tomorrow evening, we'll do a dress rehearsal and we'll be streaming it to lots of people to watch and get some notes and their opinions. It'll be going to people at the National and various other mentors that we have that help us out with these things. And then on a Thursday night, I hope my mum will be logging in and she'll be watching it on her Amazon TV at home. It's coming up to 25 past, and I just wonder if there are any questions because I know we have to finish at 2:30. But I'm not quite sure if I know if there are any questions on this, so we'll find out.
So I've definitely got a few questions for you, Simon. Again, really, really interesting story actually. There, I enjoyed you saying that because it sort of married my own journey. I think in terms of different industries. So my background is in corporate events. A bit like you say, you know, when the first lockdown hit, everything just went out the window, and then it became and used a phrase. What could you do with technology? And that was very much the sort of attitude I had personally, and we had as a sort of group of people. And there was a lot of people in corporate events just sat back and went, "We can't do this, we can't do that." And again, in the arts industry, I would imagine a lot of people did that. So it's really nice to hear a lot of positivity, actually looking at what you could do and what you could have achieved and what you have achieved, which is absolutely brilliant. I did want to know, like, how unique are you as a venue now in terms of your offering? Is anybody else doing this, or are you, the pioneer and a one-off?
Well, I think I don't. I'd love to say we're the pioneers. I think we're the pioneers of being so self-contained doing it, and so committed to it. The National, of course, have been doing it. National Theatre, our sort of the largest funded company in the UK for theatre, maybe. Not quite sure. I think that's true. NT Live has certainly been a thing, but that's been much more about delivering their large scale work to cinema and then making it available on other platforms. I don't think they've been live streaming events. Lots of other theatres since we started have, the Almeida have just done a production. I know the Donmar have been doing something. Chichester have certainly done things. Lyceum, Edinburgh, Bristol Old Vic itself. So it's slowly, there's probably a group of us that have committed to this level of work, varying degrees of production value. The Old Vic London, for example, we started, in fact, before we did Romantics Anonymous, we kind of tried out. We did Lungs with Matt Smith and Claire Foy, a production that had been shut down. We brought back a very simple two-hander, which we were originally going to shoot on iPhones. This is how little we know about it. We thought we'd shoot it on iPhones and then make it available on YouTube. And in the end, we did something a little bit more grown up, which the next iteration was us doing Romantics Anonymous. Lots of companies that have seen the value of it. My worry is that our in-person theatres back, it's fallen off a lot of other theatres' agenda, and I think it's because it's difficult and it's not immediately obvious how it financially makes sense to them. But if you, as a funded organisation, of course, financially making sense isn't necessarily our remit. Our remit is providing work and making art accessible. So you're always balancing those two things.
Absolutely, thank you for that. And in terms of just the audience satisfaction for those who are streaming it as opposed to being live there, obviously we all are aware of what the experience is like actually going to see a theatre show. And I know you did the sort of comparison with watching football on TV as opposed to being there. How do you feel, or what's been the audience feedback from the hybrid, the virtual watching from home perspective? What's been their take on it and the satisfaction?
It's kind of, when we first started it, we had no idea how it would go down really. And then once we did Romantics, you soon realised that it's really exciting. People at home really get into it. There's watch parties. There's if you sort of follow the commentary online on social, there's nothing more fun than watching your show on someone's TV in their front room, and you think, oh great, we're at home with them tonight. it's actually a really exciting feeling. And I think the audience's point of view, I think particularly with the live work, I think the video on demand work is a slightly different thing, and the streams work is the sort of on demand stream work is slightly different. But the live thing's quite exciting because it still has the jeopardy of live theatre, which is it could go wrong. We could stop. This could all the wheels could come off this at any point, which is the beauty of live theatre. So we still have that. And in fact, when we have gone wrong, the kind of outpouring of excitement online about our errors has been sort of much more exciting than their engagement with the show. So that jeopardy is still there with the live stream.
Absolutely, unexpected bonuses there, and like you say, it's just like live events, a little bit like this today. You know, you never quite know what is going to happen. Final question, as I know you
Yeah.
are a busy man, and like you say, you've got all eyes on you. Just before you go, I know, like you say, you've been able to sort of develop all this using technology. In terms of what you've used and the sort of tech, what's been the sort of, you know, key piece of technology or software that you've actually used to allow you to do this? And is there anything that you just think, I'd never use that again? You know, that's we'll kick that out the door. So best and worst pieces of tech for you.
Well, we've been really careful with tech. We've grown really slowly, but the Black Magic Design workflow has opened up possibilities. So Blackmagic make a camera, Cinema Pocket 4K, which is what I'm using now. We own quite a few of. They're somewhere between 700 and £1,000, depending on where the market's sitting at any one point or their availability. But it's a great camera. It offers you everything a pro cinema camera offers you. Dead simple to use. Hundreds of lenses available for it, from 50 quid prime lenses up to thousands of pounds worth of cinema lens. But it allows you to get a really high quality picture really quickly in a very simple, intuitive way. And in fact, the Blackmagic workflow itself, we started using the Tiny A10 Mini Pros, sort of simple 4-channel thing. We're up to, on the left of me now, we're back up to the big Blackmagic Designs 4K switches with hundreds of inputs and lots of tricks. So that's worked sort of seamlessly for us. The things that I haven't quite sussed yet is the whole PTZ, the automated camera. We've made some investment in Bristol Vic, and they sort of work, but it feels like the early moving lights. They're still a little too unpredictable and too unwieldy for us at the moment. We need another year of sort of R&D of how we make, because I think that will make a big difference. I think being able to put PTZs sort of permanently rigged in theatres and then remote operated is going to make a big difference to sort of real estate in the theatre. But we're not quite there yet. We're almost there, but I'm not quite confident yet. So so that's the area that I'm not completely convinced about. We will get there, but I think we're at least a year away.
And like you say, it's step by step by step, isn't it? That constant, desire for improving, and like you say, everything will keep just getting better and better. So,
Yeah.
Simon Baker, there, thank you very much for your time. And I say, I know you're a busy man setting up and getting ready for the show, so we will cut things there. But once again, thank you very much for joining us, and hope you enjoy being part of Event Tech Live.
Thanks for having us. Nice to see you all. Thanks.
Absolute pleasure. Take care. And if you do want to get in contact with Simon, you can find his details below this video window. He'll have all his contact details there. You can connect with him after the event as well, but he might be a little bit busy tonight and for the next week by the sounds of things. But again, really interesting story there. If you enjoyed that, let us know in the chat. Or if you're just joining us on Event Tech Live, feel free to say hello. You might even get a shout out. I've had a couple of people. We've got Michelle, hello and welcome to you. Katie Ford, hello and welcome to you. Welcome to Event Tech Live. So, ladies and gents, what we're going to do now is we have a bit of a longer break coming up for before our next session. That will actually be at 3:30 now before our next session. So what we're going to do is play a few adverts, and we've got some tech demos from Clipper, Expo, FP, and Hubs 101. So if you want to know a little bit more about them, do stick around. But do also take this opportunity to have a look around at the event platform today. If you want to know any more about the speakers, you can find that out in the speaker bio element. Have a check of the agenda for the rest of the week as well. There is plenty going on. You can add things to your own personal agenda and even add them to your calendar as well. Just just to make sure you don't want to miss a thing. And again, don't forget we have our roundtable and speed networking sessions going on. We've got one more coming up at 4 o'clock today, which will be the final roundtable session at the end of the day, how COVID-19 has changed the role of event data. So if you want to be involved in that, there are limited spaces. So it's first come, first serve. So for now, enjoy a relaxing break. If you want to go and get a cup of tea, feel free to do so. We'll see you back here at 3:30 after these event tech demos. See you soon. Super.